Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. I'm Jill Bloom with Roofing Contractor, and welcome to our Best of Success podcast show. I'm so excited to have with me today some great friends. Of course, we've got Art Eisner, who's our editor-in-chief, and we've got Steve Little, who is the president of K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, as well as the CEO of NRP, and also a new title we'll be talking about. And we also have Tammy Hall, who is the president of Hall and Company and the vice president of NRAP. Steve and Tammy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you, Jill and Art. Really great to be with you guys.
Well, this is a great conversation. It's very important for the entire industry. And Steve, I know that this is something you've been working on for a long time, but first of all, tell everybody about your new title.
Well, I am fortunate to be the president and treasurer of National Roofing Apprenticeship Program, NRAP, as Tammy coined it. And it is our initiative to set up a national merit shop roofing apprenticeship program, the first time for a national program in the history of roofing. So we're very excited about this.
It is amazing. It's amazing what you've been working on it's been a few years, Steve, since you've been working on this. More than that, actually. But where's the program today? Let's just start there. What's happening with NRAP?
Well, we were very fortunate to snag Tammy Hall to help myself and Tony Rader, who is just retired from NRP. And now he's out consulting to the marketplace, but he is the past national chairman of Associated Building Contractors. And Tony and I, a few years ago, came up with this concept of why the hell isn't a roofing apprenticeship program part of the dialogue when we go to an ABC convention or we go to Skills USA and you do not see roofing as part of the plumbing, electrical, HVAC. It's crazy. So we said we've got to figure out a way to put a national apprenticeship program together. And we connected with Tammy at the end of 2025, and she just so helped us glue it all together, and now is our vice president and secretary of that.
Well, congratulations. We're really excited to help you spread the word. Art, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Jill. Steve, I was curious, you've been working on this for a few years, as Jill mentioned, but there's been some new momentum. Earlier this year, the Roofing Alliance pledged its support for your program. Can you talk a little bit about that partnership and how is that really accelerating things on your end?
Well, Art, as you may know, the NCCER is a governing body for apprenticeships nationwide on the merit shop side of the business. They have over 47 different apprenticeships that are in place, which include the top three of electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. Tony Rader and the NRCA and NCCER pushed to have the updated manuals that were in place that only had three roofing programs in place. They had low slope, they had steep slope, and they had sheet metal. And these books were antiquated. And so about 5 years ago, the NRCA and NCCER updated this through the technical committee of NRCA. And they produced book one and book two that included all of the different systems that were in the market, including breaking down shingles and tiles and all those different things on the low slope side. They included coatings that were not part of the program in the past. And then they broke out single ply. They'll tell you how long ago the manuals were done. Single ply was not even part of the manuals at the time. They updated them to all of the NRCA standards. And then Tony's initiative was to get the ABC core program put into the apprenticeship, which provided what it means to step on a job site, whether it be new con or remedial. And so it's a 3-semester program that has college credits tied to it. It also has the Department of Labor tied to it. So what we did is that we put together the NRCA, NCCER, and ABC working on a joint initiative to bring merit shop roofing apprenticeship programs across nationwide.
Got it. Well, and Tammy, tell us why apprenticeship programs work. Why are they effective tools? And particularly, is there an appeal in roofing as opposed to some of the other trades Steve's mentioned?
I think it's important to recognize that we really haven't had a coordinated effort in apprenticeship. What we're finding out is we're talking to different contractors and really got some insight when we were at the Alliance meeting, because you had so many contractors there, how many individual roofing apprenticeship programs are out there, but none of them coordinated, whether it's curriculum, whatever they're doing. Some have been going on for a long time, like in Minnesota. Others have been going on for like 9 years, like in Florida. Texas has had Steve and Tony put a pilot together that's been going on 2 years. So the goal was, let's pull all of these together. Let's make sure they're using NCCR. And what we're seeing from the statistics, and I'm going to use Florida as an example because they are like the perfect, they've just hit the sweet spot. They've got NCCR curriculum, ABCI helping them, Career Source helping with on-the-job training grants. They've got it all working. They've kind of gone through the good, the bad, and the ugly, and they've come out on the other side of that, of the great. And that's exciting. We had an opportunity to meet with them yesterday and to really dig down deep. I've always had a superficial understanding of it, but we really got the gory details yesterday. But they showed statistically the continuation of that education. When those graduates of that apprenticeship program, 2-year program, come out, they immediately get a bump in pay. They immediately have that loyalty and commitment to staying with that contractor, and they immediately start to hit that career ladder. That's so important in our industry, is that there is a perception that there is not a career ladder. And I have to give a lot of credit to NRCA and the others who really talk about roofing and the career ladder. This is a career, not a job. We want you to stay forever. We want you to start on that roof and get that good experience and then become a foreman, a superintendent, an estimator, a project manager, go into sales, business development. You have a whole career and a litany of opportunities. So what we really saw from the stats that Florida shared with us yesterday is, number one, the salary increase, the educational opportunity, and the personal growth as it relates to their careers and their professional growth. One of the things that the trainer was telling us is that these guys become family. They stay in touch. They're talking about what's the impact that the apprenticeship program and their careers are having on their families. So I think there's going to be a lot of interest. I believe that our job is to go out and really communicate to contractors and make it really simple for them to include 1 or 2 of their employees into this program.
Tammy, I think we'd be neglectful if we didn't give credit to the advanced roofing and Tecta folks in Florida, who 9 years incubated the very first apprenticeship program without having the curriculum that the NCCR put together, except the old 3 subject manual. It was not bilingual. It was only in English. They put together their own program through manufacturers, various training modules that they had. They got it listed by the Department of Labor, and they partnered with ABCI, which is the education chapter of ABC in Southeast Florida. And they did a yeoman's job of creating 3 centers, one in Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, and over on the West Coast, of putting these programs together. And they graduated a ton of people through this over the last 9 years. And they were so excited to get the new updated manual 4 years ago. And now they are collaborating with us to how to roll it out across the country.
Well, and that's probably a great place to ask, Steve. Setting a national program is not an easy task. There are a lot of different standards, geography in different markets, to have to tackle and navigate. Talk a little bit about, that process and what has surprised you that you didn't expect.
I think this is where you truly eat the elephant one bite at a time. When we were going out to get funding, each of the groups that are funding us in the beginning told us that, hey, look, you've got really a huge opportunity here, but we want to see some KPIs right up front. And so on the Alliance side of the business, we are to get where we got our initial funding. we have to set up Florida and Texas first. Well, a couple folks on our board that are contractors in Georgia and in Ohio said, I know we have Florida and Texas first, but I've already got this started in Ohio. ABC's already agreed to do this. We did it last year, but it wasn't as sophisticated. And then the Georgia folks have just received a ton of money for apprenticeships. And so there's been a huge appetite to go and tackle that. So we're going to achieve our first 12-month requirement in our KPIs to get the Texas and Florida set up. We'll also set up the Ohio marketplace, and we'll set up the central Georgia marketplace to begin with.
All right. So you've mentioned some key states and obviously lots of, very robust roofing markets, in those areas. How will this play in other states, though, if you're trying to set up that national standard, and particularly in places where, where unions are doing a lot of the apprenticeship training right now? Is there buy-in or coordination there?
Well, both of you know that I'm a sailor, and so it's not very good to sail upwind. It's very good to sail on a broad reach to get the best wind you possibly can. So we're going to concentrate on the non-union states to begin with. But you take somebody like Ken Sweckert with TECTA that did a program in Minneapolis for 23 years, a non-union apprenticeship program in that marketplace, that he and his single location created that. And so there is opportunity in the union places, but that's not where we're going to start. We're going to start slow and try to get these first 4 states set up. And then we're going to probably move to another 6 or 8 states after that. And what's allowing us to do this is that Tammy, Tony, and I have integrated folks from Skills USA, from CTE, from ABC, from NCCER, from NRCA, and from Alliance as part of our board, with about a half a dozen roofing contractors across all genre of or sizes, I should say, of contractors. So we have people that are $100 million and we have people that are $20 million as part of this group to help us navigate this world. So the first time that an initiative has been done in roofing, that you've put all these different folks from different associations or groups that are focusing on apprenticeship. And when you look, as an example, Sherry Miles, she's our incoming president in the Alliance, and she sits on the executive committee for NRCA. She would be the face of the Mid-Atlantic. If you want to talk about somebody that has given the blood, sweat, and tears of building a workforce development in her marketplace. You look at these folks like Jane Hanna. She is the past president of CEF, which is the Construction Education Foundation in Dallas, part of the ABC, AGC group there. And she has spent 32 years building workforce development across the board, and we used her organization to do the beta test. And I could say something about each one of the people that are here. It's amazing that Tammy has been able to wrestle all of us together and keep us focused as we move this initiative forward.
Well, workforce development has always been an issue in the industry. Can you both talk about what has changed about that in roofing just within the last 5 years that really makes this the right timing for the apprenticeship program you're trying to introduce?
Well, I'll start with that and Steve can jump in. I think the main thing that's happened is that our elected officials, both on state and federal level, have recognized that not everyone needs a 4-year degree or a master's degree or a doctorate's degree, that the trades really offer a career path and a income for folks who want to work with their hands and be in the trades. So they have set initiatives and they have set opportunities for people like NRAP, people like other nonprofits like ABC to engage and make these programs fundable, easy to get to, accessible, And that, I think, has really helped a lot. When we started Roofing Day with Reed Ribble at NRCA, nobody was talking about the trades. Over the years, what I've seen, especially the last 3 years, is that has just changed dramatically, and that has filtered down. That has filtered down in on-the-job training grants that are federal but come into the states. It has filtered down into almost every conversation when you talk about workforce. Now the trades are part of that workforce conversation. And I think the mentality of the contractors themselves recognizing we can't find skilled labor. We're aging out of our skilled labor, and a lot of the markets do not have that. We don't have the apprenticeship. We don't have how are we mentoring these incoming folks? So I think the whole dynamic, what I believe is that whole conversation has changed, that we really need to find a mechanism that's consistent. And what's been great is that NRCA has Pro Cert, it has track. Once you're in the business, you've got Skills USA and CTE that are helping expose high schoolers, even some middle schoolers, to the trades. And NRAP is there to create that opportunity to link all those things together. And then again, if you look at the slide that you have up, there's the career ladder. There is the educational, hands-on career ladder that continues anyone starting at the beginning to continue to hone their skills. So just like a CPA hones their skills, just like a doctor hones their skills, all of these careers that people push you into the four-year schools or the masters and doctorates, we now have that same opportunity in the trades. And that's what's really exciting. And that's the conversation that has shifted dramatically when you go around and you talk to the different contractors.
You know, Art, when you see the workers in our industry, the actual men and women that do the work, there was recognition for them on honing their skills with the Pro Cert program. And there was an onboarding program with the track program from NRCA, but there was never any apprenticeship. Yet you look at the other trades that are in the marketplace, the different divisions that there are in new construction for new con builds. You look at a remedial job that's done. Those electricians and plumbers and HVAC folks all have to be licensed, and we don't have a universal licensing system across the country. So where do our skilled workers advance their careers, or where do the folks that are coming into our industry even hear about roofing? We're not even part of the conversation. We can't even be part of the counselors or the junior achievement folks that are there at 5th grade and 11th grade, or the CTE and the ABC programs that transpire. We're not even part of the conversation. Well, kudos to Bill Good when he got involved with the Clemson program, and for Reed Ribble, and now for McKay Daniels. These are the 3 past leaders at NRCA that have recognized that there has to be a career path for somebody to get excited about this. But we've pushed this all through our industry, but we've never pulled it back in. And any successful marketing program has a push and a pull. And that's where NRAP comes in. We are going to push this out across the country, and then we are going to act and provide the toolkit for the training centers and the contractors and the industry to pull people back into our industry. In our beta program, we had about 17 people go through the 2 years of beta program. So it's 3 semesters each to reach your apprenticeship. And we had 2 classes that went through for proof of concept. It was like an 89% retention rate of the people that went through it. And our company, K Plus Roofing and Waterproofing, put 9 people through it. We have 8 of those folks that are still with us, and 6 of them have been promoted into either a mechanic, from a laborer to a mechanic, from a mechanic to a lead person, and from a lead person to a foreman. One of the folks came into the white collar side of our business, is now an assessor, working with our estimating departments on assessing and doing annual roof maintenance programs because of what they learned from this program. It's easy to get passionate about it because you see the results. It's how in the hell can we scale up quickly to do this? And the funding that came from the Alliance and from NCCR and from ABC gave us the ability to be able to hire staff and to now go to market and put a program together to secure additional funding available out here in the alliance world, in the apprenticeship world.
Very nice. So, Steve, what would you say to contractors that say they're too busy to develop a structured training, and how does NRAP make that easier?
Great question, Jill. The more sophisticated contractors are the ones that have set up training programs. The unsophisticated contractors do not have a means to do it. And so there's a dynamic shift, a paradigm shift that's happening in our business right now. Over the last 3 or 4 years, there's been a shift to subcrews to control the labor game, but also to fill into the workforce that we don't have enough help to be able to pull from. So this allows the all contractors, not just the more sophisticated but all contractors, to have a path for workforce development, to be able to put people that are interested in our industry into an organized training program and have them reach an apprenticeship. So when they come to work for them, when they leave that apprenticeship program and work for them full time, then they will be better trained and in turn a better return on investment. Tammy, we have some numbers from the folks that are at Florida that have been doing this for 9 years that we learned about during our meeting with the advanced roofing folks and the state of Florida folks yesterday. Do you have some of those at your fingertips?
I do not, but I will share with you that they pretty much shared with us that other than 2 people that they had to terminate for cause, they pretty much have had 100% retention on everyone who has gone through their program. And they've had, I believe it was 102 that have gone through the program, Steve, something like that number. And so those are incredible retention numbers. That's what we're seeing, and that's what we need, is that as people age out, that next batch of skilled labor coming through. But those kinds of retention numbers are phenomenal. They also had graduation numbers were extremely high, almost 85%, I believe. So again, the program, if we can help the contractors see that benefit, make it easy for them, it's just a win-win on the contractor side and on the employee side, because these credentials stay with them anywhere in the country.
And
but the retention is huge.
Let me clarify a couple of points. First of all, this is a get your apprenticeship while you're working program. So in the beta test, the students worked all day on a Wednesday in class. So they either had class or they worked in a mock-up situation where they were actually hands-on during that time period. And they did that all through the 3 semesters that they were there. But they were also working and getting 2,080 hours working, which made it fall in line with the Department of Labor requirements to reach an apprenticeship program and to be certified by the Department of Labor. So that was the first thing that I think is important to understand. The second thing is that they reported to us yesterday that for the 9 years of this program, contractors have seen a 42% return on investment. Now imagine anything that you invested in stocks and you could get a 42% return on investment. That's fantastic. So imagine if you're doing it with your labor force. So you have an 85% graduation rate, you have a 90-something% retention rate, and the return on investment was 42%. Sign me
Those
up.
are big numbers.
And, part of that, Jill, also, and part of what NRAP is doing is we're finding the ways for them while they're on the job training, which is a federal program. We can work with them to sign up to get reimbursement for anywhere from 3 months to 6 months while that employee is in training. So again, so exciting. There's so many opportunities. So our goal is just to pull it all together and give them a toolkit. Here you go. Here's the contacts. How can we help you make this happen? If we get this going in your state, will you give us 4 people to go into the program? So we're there to make sure that it stays consistent, that we're the cheerleaders and making the contractors see how simple this can be. They don't have to do the heavy lifting. That's what we're there for. And we have contractors who have seen the success. So that peer-to-peer conversation is huge. They don't have to take my word for it or Steve's because we're on the board. They can talk to other contractors who have actually done this, and they can share those results with them.
Well, it definitely really sounds like you have some incredible retention. that is taking place. Are all the contractors seeing that same thing that are trying out the program?
The ones that were in the first 9 years of the Florida program, the answer is yes.
Okay. That is exciting. So what does it look like 5 years from now? What does success look like?
Um, Tammy will have a staff of about 25 to 50, depending on how many states it will be in. Because Art mentioned it earlier, each state is different. Where we have an apprentice program that aligns with what worked in Florida and Texas and Ohio and Georgia, the state of New York has something different. So we'll have different people on staff that'll be able to help navigate those. Um, our hope, our true hope, is to get us to the first level of success, which we think is going to be an ongoing program with about 500 people graduating and involved in it in the roofing industry. Our goal is, of course, over six figures, which is pales in comparison with electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. But we feel that there's zero now, except for the Florida program and the individual contractors program. That's what our goal is. I mean, ultimately, I think we talked about it yesterday and in the presentations we made to the three associations that are sponsoring this, that if we could get to the point that we were having such success that we could afford a Super Bowl ad to bring people into the roofing industry, then we feel that we've reached the pinnacle of success.
That's awesome. I'd love to see that too. That'd be great. So can one of you share a story of one of the contractors that graduated and that really convinced you beyond a shadow of a doubt that how much of a difference that this program is making?
Oh, I wish Tony Rader was here to represent, because as the national chair of ABC, and they have their contest every year at their national convention, he was just overwhelmed, emotional to see that the kids from all the other trades just be so proud that they won the particular event they were in, the electrical event or the plumbing event, et cetera. But he brought roofing to a beta test program at last year's convention. And the kids were crying when they won for the particular event that they were in. The beta test that we did in Dallas, where we had those folks there, they filled the room with their families when they were on stage getting their apprenticeship certifications and their college credits. We failed to mention, Tammy, that this also comes with college credits. These are blue-collar workers that do not take the path of a 4-year or 2-year college that are getting college credits for doing this. And they were so proud, and their families or their spouses or their kids were emotional as they were getting these certifications and they would step off stage. It's very fulfilling to feel that we can change lives while we're helping develop workforce for the roofing industry.
I love it. So Steve, why have you been so passionate about this? Where's this all come from?
I get really tired of talking about something. You know, there was a lot of talk about National Women in Roofing. And then you and Heidi and others got on that program, and Trent Cutney and I supported it for a year, and they got out of everybody's way to get it launched. And now there's almost 3,000 women that are involved in our industry, and it has lifted our industry. We have the same thing that's going on with workforce development. And as my staff tells me all the time, I'm aging out in age, but I haven't run out of gas.
Okay.
And Tammy and I and Tony have all had some kind of passion around people. And we feel that the Alliance was doing an awesome job with getting the Skills USA program up and running. And so now we have it, as that slide you showed earlier, where we have it happening in the schools, we have it happening in college. There's now a center of roofing at Clemson. There's no other trade that has a center of their particular trade at any university, and the Alliance and that whole team has made that happen. It happened under Greg Bloom's leadership as our president. And now, by God, we're going to have a national merit shop Alliance apprenticeship program, excuse me, that will go on forever.
Jill, roofing changes people's lives. I think all of us, I come from a contractor background, Steve is still in the contractor world. When you see that individual come in that really thought, this is my last hope, I need a job. Thank you, roofing contractor, for giving me a job. And when they get in there and you really work with them and you show them that there is a career ladder in roofing, and you see them go from a $15 an hour guy on the roof to making over $100,000 doing business development, estimator, project, seeing them buy their first home, being able to sponsor their kids for summer school. You see the difference this makes, and that's where the passion comes from. We're really changing people's life. But as Reed Ribble always said, we got to lift the roofing industry. We've got to lift this particular trade. And I'll never forget the story when he said his first week in Congress, and one of his colleagues came back, a senior member, said, "Hey, this is a little better gig than your last one." And Reed looked at him and said, "What?" He goes, "Roofing contractor." And he goes, "Oh," he goes, the red flags went off. That was the perception. And look how far we have come. And we just want to continue that. I think it's just so exciting that more people recognize we're proud roofers. We're proud to be in this industry, and we do change people's lives. And that's what makes me passionate about this.
I want to make sure that it's clear the career path for a $15 an hour laborer can go up to a $150,000 superintendent if they decide to stay on the blue collar side of the business. Now, it's going to take years to get to that superintendent level. But the reality of the matter is that a foreman on a roofing crew that's making $65,000 or $70,000 a year with overtime can make six figures. With the benefits, 401k, health, all the different things they can get. And those are the driving factors of setting up an apprenticeship program, so we can bring more people into the industry, we can take care of the workforce development problem that we have, and that we can provide career paths that these workers can make a great living for them and their families.
I love it. Art, what do you want to close with?
Well, I wasn't prepared for a close, but I think
Or we can still keep talking. There's still a lot more to talk about.
No, I think
this is a great slide that you have in front of you, Art, if you want us to go through that.
Yeah, sure. So, Steve, we talked a little bit about what this could look like a little bit longer term. In practical terms, what is the short-term mission for you?
Our short-term mission is to get the 2 states set up that we have obligated ourselves to the 3 organizations that have funded us. By the end of the year, we'll have them set up in 4 states. So we're confident of that. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that needs to be done. That elephant that we need to choose one bite at a time on. Getting the instructor pool set up so we have pools to pull from. To make sure that each of the states' requirements are covered. Making sure we have our data and reporting in place. We're building the framework for this toolbox that Tammy referenced, but there's a lot more than just handing it to somebody. It's our job to make sure it gets executed. So it's not like we're going to develop this nice package and hand it to somebody and put it in a digital format that they can pull it off the portals and run with it. We actually feel responsible to make sure it gets executed, show them actually how to do a graduation, show them how to actually make sure that the person has a job and a continued mentorship through that process. And then we'll do a step and repeat program in year 2. We'll evaluate it and we'll redefine it and tweak it. We want to scale it at that point. And we want to really start getting into the grant programs in our second year. There are so many dollars that are out there. You may have seen recently that Lowe's and Home Depot, the tool companies, and even Meta got involved. And now that they're putting in apprenticeship dollars on an annual basis. And then in year 3, we want to stabilize it. Our staff would have been with us a year or 2 at this point, a year plus as we go into year 3, where we actually have all of our processes and systems in place. And then we go back through and we start renewing the partners that originally helped us get this started.
One of the things that we're doing is that we're reaching out to our contractors and those folks to get our initial grants funding. Obviously, the associations that touch roofing, they've been extraordinarily generous. We've reached out to a handful of contractors, all of them pledging. We have different sponsorship levels, one of them being a $10,000 sponsorship level. And we've had great success reaching out to contractors to help with those donations. And as Steve said, as we get our homework done and all our I's dotted and T's crossed from our corporate standpoint, year two is where we'll start looking for those foundations, those government grants and things like that. But our hands are really full right now with just working on the 2 states we have. We're confident that we'll have enough funding and we'll be able to start building up the reserves and to continue to expand, but to at least get this initial push out the door and get it stabilized, and then continue to raise those dollars as we continue to get our structure in place.
Thank you guys so much for all you're doing to make such a difference for really what's going to be for generations to come.